Good afternoon. If everyone could please take their seats, we're going to begin momentarily. If you please take your seats. Good to go? Yes. They're in the procession. They're in the end of the procession. Good afternoon. Welcome to the 78th National Convention of AMVETS. We are hereby called to order. Since 1944, AMVETS has been serving America's veterans. We pledge ourselves to be ever vigilant on behalf of all American veterans and to continue the fight of those who went before us for the American way of life. We fought together and let's build together. We are veterans serving veterans. Provost Marshal, please escort the AMVETS national officers to their seats. Sergeant at Arms or Provost Marshal, is our processional ready? Provost Marshal, are the AMVETS National officers ready to come? Provost Marshal, please escort the AMVETS National officers to their seats. Sergeant Arms, please escort the AMVETS Ladies Auxiliary National officers to their seats. Provost Marshal, please escort the Sons of AMVETS National officers to their seats. Provost Marshal, please escort the Junior AMVETS National officers to their seats. Provost Marshal, please escort the AMVETS Riders National officers to their seats. Provost Marshal and Sergeant at Arms, please escort the AMVETS past national commanders, the past national presidents of the Ladies Auxiliary, and the past national commanders of the AMVETS, Sons of AMVETS to their seats. Sarah. Sorry. All right, please welcome to the stage the National Sadist, Mike Davis. And please welcome the National Snappiest, Evelyn Davis. Please welcome National League's Auxiliary Convention Chair, Judy Fry. Please welcome AMVETS Ladies Auxiliary Chaplain, Alice Delzer. Please welcome AMVETS Chaplain, Milton Allen. Please welcome the AMVETS National Chair, PNC Reed Riley. Please welcome the AMVETS National Writers President, John Riondo. Please welcome the National Juniors President, Joy Sapara. Please welcome the Sons of AMVETS National Commander, Mick Sisla. Please welcome AMVETS Ladies Auxiliary President, Karen Simmons. They are coming. Our AMVETS National Commander is not in here yet. He's out there. The Secretary of the VA is arriving here any moment now. He will be addressing the convention floor. Please be seated. Okay. Not yet. National Chaplain Milton Allen, will you please lead us in prayer?
Please uncover. In your hearing, I'll be reading the AMVETS official prayer. Almighty God, the Father, the guide of our great nation, we beseech thee to give us the light and strength faithfully to uphold and defend the Constitution, to safeguard the principles of liberty and justice, to promote the cause of peace throughout the world, and to strengthen the bonds of friendship and mutual assistance among our fellow citizens. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. We will now have the presentation of colors by AMVETS Post 103 from right here in the Great Keystone State. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by AMVETS Acting National Provost Marshal Mike Davis, and our national anthem sung by the Ladies Auxiliary National Chaplain Alice Delzer. Present the colors.
AMVETS family, attention, hand salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2.
Would you join me in the national anthem? Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Again, thank you to the color guard from AMVETS Post 103 here in Pennsylvania. Okay. If you'd please be seated. We're now going to hold off just a bit for our other customary opening ceremonies so that we can hear from our first two guests of honor before they need to depart. This time it's an honor to welcome Pennsylvania's 35th Lieutenant Governor. Austin Davis was elected this past November, becoming the first African American to be elected Lieutenant Governor and the first millennial to win state office in Pennsylvania. Having been sworn in at the age of 33, he is the youngest Lieutenant Governor in Pennsylvania history and the youngest current Lieutenant Governor in the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis. I do wish I'd prepared some jokes for today. It's not usually that kind of day. We do have some comedians in the audience, that's for sure. So those of us who've all been in here all day, apparently the traffic is quite a mess out there and it's thrown a few things. All right, here's our Lieutenant Governor, Austin Davis.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm sorry, good afternoon. Thank you to Commander McLean and the AMVETS leadership for bringing your national convention here to the Keystone State, and for allowing me to welcome you all to Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, where I'm from. I want to give a special thanks to Secretary McDonough for his leadership of the Department of Veterans Affairs and for your relentless advocacy on behalf of the nation's 18 million veterans. Let's give him a round of applause. Pennsylvania is home to more than 700,000 veterans. That represents the fourth largest population of veterans in the country. Our veterans fight for us. It's the least that we can do to fight for you when you return home. The Shapiro-Davis administration is committed to being there for our veterans, serving them with the same dedication and determination that they have served our country with. Earlier this summer, we unveiled a new website, Welcome Home PA, to help service members who are separating or retiring from active duty. We want to make sure their return to civilian life is successful, so we're providing Pennsylvania veterans with the information and resources on employment, education, and the benefits to which they are entitled. Just this week, I spoke at an event where we highlighted a new $20 million investment in historically disadvantaged businesses. One of those groups that are in line to benefit from those investments is small businesses owned by our veterans. Every Pennsylvanian should have the freedom to chart their own course and to pursue the American dream, and that goes for our veterans as well. If you want to start a small business, we've got your back. If you want to use your GI benefits to go to college or for an apprenticeship program, we've got your back. Or if you want to use your career skills and your experience gained in the military to start a new business, we're here for you too. Veterans have so much more to offer our communities once they've completed their military service. And here in Pennsylvania, we want to help our veterans succeed in every possible way. Once again, thank you for allowing me to speak with you today, and best wishes on a successful convention here, and welcome to the Keystone State. Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
I've asked the Lieutenant Governor to stay up here with us for 1 minute because we still need to bring out our National Commander, who is now ready to come over. So please give a very warm welcome to our National Commander, Don McLean.
Thank you. Please, everyone sit. Thank you for your speech. Thank you so much. We have 2 coins. One is mine. One is the 100th anniversary of the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Whoops. Okay. This is yours. That's good. Yeah, we're going to introduce. Everybody having a good time? Yeah? Air conditioning working good? No? I got some yes, I got some no. I understand. If you're too close to the front here, these lights will really make it hotter. So we're just waiting on a second. Up. And there goes most of Joe's pages, but we'll figure out what's next here. Secretary? Secretary? Okay, nothing. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest today, very distinguished gentleman, has done a lot for the government service, but he has especially done in the last few years an awful lot for the VA and our veterans. Secretary McDonough. The Honorable Denis McDonough, nominated by President Biden to lead the Department of Veterans Affairs, confirmed by the United States Senate February 8, 2021, as the 11th Secretary of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs. During his confirmation hearing, Secretary McDonough testified to Congress, and I quote, "I will work tirelessly to build and restore VA's trust as the premier agency for ensuring the well-being of Americans' veterans. After all, there is no sacred obligation nor noble undertaking than to uphold our promises to our veterans, whether they came home decades ago or days ago." To this point, Secretary McDonough's actions have backed what he has said in 2021. Mr. McDonough has served in the Obama administration as the 26th White House Chief of Staff. Prior to that, he was the Principal Deputy National Security Advisor. He has also served as the Chief of Staff of the National Security Staff and as Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications. He chaired the National Security Council's Deputies Committee, and throughout his service in the White House, Secretary McDonough helped lead the Obama administration's work on behalf of military families and veterans. Before his 8-year tenure in the White House, Secretary McDonough served in senior leadership and policy-making positions in the U.S. House of Representatives and in the U.S. Senate. Secretary McDonough grew up in Minnesota in a family of 11 children, graduated from St. John's University, and earned his master's degree from Georgetown University. Secretary McDonough and his wife Carrie have 3 children, and please join me in giving him a warm welcome. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Commander. Thank you so much. So generous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Commander. It's a very generous introduction. Sheldon and I were whispering that it's a little long, but I do like hearing about Minnesota and my 10 brothers and sisters. I will say the good news for me as a Minnesota Vikings fan is I'm speaking before Mr. Bleier, not after. I just told him I've admired him so dearly since he broke my heart as a Vikings fan back in the day. But what a great honor to appear before AMVETS, not only with the Lieutenant Governor, but with Mr. Bleier, a great American hero. We have no more important partners in our fight for veterans than AMVETS. Every single day, I see the real impact of your work, of your devotion to your fellow veterans, and of your partnership with all of us at VA. Nobody embodies that as much as the Commander and as Joe Chinelli. Former Commander Brown just said to me, "Thank you for coming, Mr. Secretary." I said, "Well, I had to come because Joe would have probably beat me up if I didn't." I say that in jest, but he is a tireless advocate. For AMVETS, yes. For all vets, yes. And when you look in Washington, it's a lot of noise in Washington, you look for signal. Joe Chinelli's got signal. Of course, to all the AMVETS members, it's great to see so many of you today, and it's an honor to be here in Pittsburgh. Now, I wasn't, unfortunately, able to join you last year in New Orleans because I was with my family. But in my letter, I wrote to you about the promise our country makes to honor your service and sacrifice. And I promised you that this year, 2023, would be a year of executing on our most important priorities. And together with AMVETS, I am proud to say we're fighting like hell for vets, and we're delivering. Since the President took office, and with your support, we've delivered more care and more benefits to more veterans than at any other time in our nation's history. And look, all of that work, every bit of it, adds up to the one statistic and the only statistic that matters. Veterans' lives saved or improved by the work that we do together. So let me give you a couple of quick updates. First, we're fighting like hell to end veterans' homelessness. I told you last year that our ambitious goal was to permanently house 38,000 homeless veterans. We exceeded that mark. We permanently housed more than 40,000 vets. We've doubled down on that goal. We've doubled down on that goal to do the same this year. And more than halfway into the calendar year, we're on track to exceed 38,000 permanently housed veterans. Second, we are fighting like hell to end veteran suicide. At last year's convention, in the letter with you, I discussed the rollout of 988, the brand new National Suicide Prevention Lifeline that connects vets quickly and directly to the Veterans Crisis Line. Since that launch, the hotline has fielded over 1 million calls, texts, and messages with an average time to answer of just under 10 seconds. Every second counts. Every second counts in a time of crisis. to ensure that vets are getting the help they need when they need it most. Third, we're fighting like hell to get vets timely access to world-class care. In the past year, vets have had over 73 million outpatient appointments at VA and 37 million more outpatient appointments with community care providers. Meanwhile, we've seen a staggering 3,000% increase in virtual home visits since 2020. Nearly 28 million total home visits in that time span. Offering care that is more convenient to vets is the name of the game at VA, in the community, via telehealth, alongside focused process and technology changes that leads to improved average wait times in nearly 60% of our facilities. Fourth, we spent the last year fighting to deliver for toxic exposed vets. We recently marked the 1-year anniversary of the historic toxic exposure law, the PACT Act, which only passed because of your support. This can be the largest expansion of veterans' care and benefits in decades, if not ever. In fact, since the PACT Act was signed into law last August, veterans and survivors have filed more than 2 million claims. Over 950,000 of them have been filed for toxic exposure-related claims under the PACT Act. Over 4 million vets have received toxic exposure screening, and VA has awarded nearly $2 billion in earned benefits to vets, their families, and survivors who filed PACT Act-related claims. This new law would not have been passed without AMVETS' tireless support, and it has the potential to help us deliver care and benefits to millions of toxic exposed vets and their survivors, including many of you who have now waited far too long for that access. That brings me to my fifth and final update. We're fighting like hell to hire at an unprecedented rate. None of this happens from ending homelessness for veterans, to ending suicide, to delivering toxic exposure benefits. None of it happens without world-class clinicians and the workforce at VA. So this year of execution has also been a year of hiring faster and more competitively while retaining our great staff. In fact, we're hiring at a record pace, growing the VBA workforce by 18% and the VHA workforce by 5%, the highest levels in the past 2 decades, in spite of nationwide labor and healthcare shortages. Because people want to work at VA because it means they get to work for you. People want to work for you. So, this has been a year of execution. But this execution is not because of me. It's because of you. And it's because of the nearly 450,000 VA employees in your communities and your neighborhoods across the country who keep vets at the heart of their care. People like my teammate and my friend, Kate. Where's Kate? There she is. Your mic's off.
They're turning it on for me. We good?
You're good.
All right. My name is Kate Matthews, and I am proud to say that my family has served in all branches of the U.S. military. Well, not the Space Force yet. I have worked for the Pittsburgh Regional Office since 2007, and I am currently the coach of the predetermination team. In my family, honoring nation's veterans was a lesson taught to my sister and I starting at a young age. My way of personally thanking our veterans began when I learned to play the bagpipes in high school. I started volunteering to play at events, funerals, and parades for many veterans organizations. I have continued to do so as an adult, volunteering at the National Cemetery of the Alleghenies as often as I can. I feel so fortunate to have found a career at VA that is personally rewarding, and I can't think of a more deserving group of people to serve. The people that I work with carry those same feelings of respect and responsibility in serving our veterans. I am so eternally grateful to work with our VSO partners, including John Thays, our local AMVETS VSO, because I see every day how deeply you care about veterans too. We never forget that each and every claim represents a person and their family. We continue to work PACT Act claims efficiently and accurately, granting every benefit that we can under the law. So we're leaning forward, working hard, and processing claims in record numbers. To support the increased workload here in Pittsburgh, we have hired 115 new employees, nearly 60% of whom are veterans themselves. Also in that time, we have processed over 6,800 PACT Act claims, awarding veterans over $21 million in earned benefits. In the early stages of PACT Act claims processing, our office began expediting claims for terminally ill veterans. In many cases, we were able to award thousands of dollars in retroactive benefits to those very deserving veterans. One veteran in particular, who I'll refer to as Mr. Smith, served in Southwest Asia as a Marine. Mr. Smith was previously denied a claim for testicular cancer in 2022, as this condition was not previously a presumptive condition. With the PACT Act updates, Mr. Smith was granted 100% service connection in January 2023 and received a retroactive award of $17,880. Granting service connection is not just about the retroactive awards. It's ensuring our veterans also receive the medical treatment that they need and earned. Mr. Smith has so much life to live alongside his wife and family, and because of the PACT Act, he has one less thing to worry about while he embarks on one of the most important battles of his life. There are thousands of veterans out there like Mr. Smith, and it means so much to serve them, as well as they have served the rest of us. Thank you for having me, and now let's hear from my colleague, Dr. Strollo.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your comments and the opportunity to address the AMVETS members attending today's conference. As a fellow veteran and a professor of medicine at the University of Pittsburgh, I am honored to lead the VA Pittsburgh Health System medical service line and help provide first-class care for our nation's heroes. Both my wife and I attended the medical school at the Uniformed Services University, the military medical school, trained at Wilford Hall Medical Center, and proudly served in the U.S. Air Force as physicians. The call to service runs deep in our families, with both of our fathers being Air Force veterans as well. While on active duty, I served as a pulmonary consultant to the U.S. Air Force Surgeon General and was deployed as a pulmonary critical care physician in support of Operation Desert Storm. Being that my specialty is in pulmonary medicine, I know firsthand how deployment-related lung injury can substantially affect health and quality of life. We are very excited at VA Pittsburgh Health System to provide PACT Act resources to our veterans affected by toxic exposures such as Agent Orange, contaminated water, and burn pits while on active duty. At VA Pittsburgh Health Systems, we are developing a Center of Excellence for Post-Deployment Lung Injury in support of the PACT Act. This initiative will include advanced laboratory studies, advanced imaging, and pulmonary function testing with exercise capacity, and also advanced diagnostic biopsy procedures. This will ensure comprehensive evaluations are accomplished for our veterans. Our 1 Million Veterans Research Program, of which I am the local site principal investigator, has already provided significant insights into how our genes affect cardiovascular, mental health, and cancer risk. Our team has a booth in the exhibit area if you're interested in joining the program or just want to learn more about what we do. Please stop by. Recently, I had the pleasure of helping one of our UPMC patients, who is a Vietnam-era veteran, get enrolled in the VA so that he could receive the cancer care that he needed and deserved. Our veterans have earned best-in-class care, and my team is committed to making this happen. Finally, I want to thank my fellow veterans for your service and your willingness to place yourselves in harm's way in support of our great nation.
Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Shields, and I'm a proud Marine of 10 years, as well as an employee and patient at the Department of Veterans Affairs. After getting out of the Marine Corps, I had several jobs, but something was missing. As a Marine, I'm naturally stubborn, so I continued to look for that piece, job after job after job. One evening, I was hanging out with one of my battle buddies who recently had started working at the VA. He spoke to me about his daily interactions with veterans and how he was solving issues for them on a daily basis. This struck a chord with me. That's what I was missing. Marines are trained to never leave a Marine behind, and as a leader of Marines, it was my duty to ensure the safety and well-being of the Marines under my supervision. I immediately sent in my application. Now, every single day, I have the privilege of helping my fellow brothers and sisters in arms. Let me tell you about one of those veterans. Several months ago, I received a call from one of my dear friend's wives. She was very upset, and my friend was in crisis. He was recently injured at work and was currently on disability. His daughter had been born a few months prior, and he felt overwhelmed and helpless. I jumped in my car, drove the 45 minutes to his house, and found essentially a train wreck waiting for me once I got there. I loaded my friend up in the car and drove him to the VA here in Pittsburgh. While there were setbacks in the weeks that followed, nothing was perfect. We finally left the hospital with a plan and the determination to follow it. As we drove home, I asked him if he had talked to any VSOs or anybody else about the new benefits that he's eligible for through the PACT Act. He had not. So we took a slight turn, and I helped him start the process in filing his PACT Act claim. I'm happy to report that as of this morning, the veteran is actively back to work. He's meeting weekly with his support groups. He's been awarded a disability rating, and most importantly, has not touched alcohol in over 5 months and getting the care that he needs. The story doesn't end there. Shortly after, my friend began speaking to other Marines, explaining what steps the VA took to address all of those needs. I then began to receive phone calls on a weekly basis from Marines that I haven't spoken to in years. They were all interested in signing up for the PACT Act and figuring out what those next steps were being. Helping just one veteran created that ripple effect, touching so many lives. So I ask that each and every one of you reach out to your fellow veterans and tell your story. Today, we may not be guiding our fellow service members on an open battlefield, but we're assisting them with the battle of life. We must continue to help each other, and like we learned in the military, we must never, never leave a fellow service member behind. Thank you. Mr.
I'll tell you what, seeing Kate, seeing Patrick, seeing Brandon, you see now why I feel so blessed to be part of this team at VA. They represent the very best workforce in the federal government, the most passionate, highest performing public service servants in the country, folks who want to make a real difference in the lives of their fellow veterans, of all veterans. I'm blessed to call them my colleagues. And you heard them. They share the same deep devotion to serving veterans that characterizes all of VA's people. The reason I come to these conventions is to hold myself accountable to you and to all of VA. Hold all of VA accountable to you. If you hear that we're not living up to the highest ideals, the ideals exemplified by Kate, by Dr. Strollo, and by Brandon, I want you to let me know. Because I know Chanelle's going to let me know. Because vets have earned and deserve our very best. You have earned and deserve our very best. And we will stop at nothing until we get you that. So in closing, let me end with one final request. To all you veterans, to your family members, to your caregivers, and to survivors in the audience, please apply for your toxic exposure benefits now, here. There is no deadline to apply for the PACT Act. It's here to stay. But many vets and survivors can have their PACT Act benefits backdated 1 year from the date that you submit a claim or intend to file a claim. Let me say this again. You can sign up for VA benefits at any time. But the PACT Act has also expanded the window for vets to enroll directly in health care, even if you don't have a current service connection. All vets who deployed to a combat zone can enroll directly in VA care within 10 years of being discharged. Vietnam vets can enroll at any point in their lives. And vets who deployed to a combat zone, never enrolled in health care, and were discharged between September 11, 2001 and October 1, 2013 can enroll for health care right now during a special enrollment period. So to those post 9/11 vets in your lives, urge them to act fast. This special enrollment period closes September 30th, just a few weeks from now. So don't wait. VA is the best, most affordable health care in America for veterans, and this is your chance to sign up. Even if you don't need this care today, there may be a day you will need it, tomorrow, the next day, 30 years from now. And once you're in, you're in. Apply today for the VA care and benefits you've earned. Now listen, there are people out there who will try to convince vets that they need to pay somebody to help them apply for benefits. Their benefits. It's not true. Do not pay anyone to file your initial claim with VA. It's easy, It's free. You can work directly with VA or you can work directly with AMVETS. Please stop by the claims clinic here this week to meet with the VA claims representatives who will help you file a PACT Act claim and answer any of your questions. And please help us by getting the word out. 952,000 claims since the president signed that law a year ago is a lot. But there are millions more who are eligible and should be filing claims. Please reach out to every vet you know. Reach out to your old Vietnam battle buddies with hypertension. Anyone who may have been exposed to Agent Orange. Reach out to every trooper you know who fought in Central Command. Maybe that's members of the 1st Division into Saudi Arabia in August 1990 and one of the last divisions to leave Afghanistan over 30 years later. Can I get an all the way from any 82nd Airborne paratroopers in the audience? Or any of the brave soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who served in those 30 years of war in between. That's what I'm talking about. Reach out to your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your neighbors, your sons, your daughters. Have every vet you know get a toxic exposure screening. You can do it with one of the world's leading pulmonologists, Dr. Strollo. We need every single person in this room to help communicate with veterans and families to get the care they need, the benefits they deserve. And it just might be, like Brandon, that in so doing you save someone's life. We simply can't rest until we assure every veteran gets the care and the benefits that they've earned. With your help, we're going to keep our sacred promise to those who served and sacrificed for us. And we're going to serve every vet as well as you all have served us. So God bless you all. God bless our nation's service members, our veterans, their family members, caregivers, and survivors. Thank you all very much. Thanks, Commander.
I gave you my coin earlier, but I want to give you this one. This is commemorates everything that goes through the food of the other.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next one. Oh, that's reach.
Preamble first, and then we'll do reach.
Sure.
So we'll do the preamble, and then you.
All right. Is Rocky here?
Rocky's here.
He's here.
Okay.
Provost Marshal, please ensure our next speaker is ready, but we'll be doing the preamble in just a moment here first. Sheldon, will our next guest speaker be ready in one moment, please? Rocky. Could everyone please rise as we recite the AMVETS preamble? If we get the slide, please. If we have the preamble slide, please, Boomy. Yes, please put that up. We, the American veterans,
In terms of what should we? Now it is responsibilities. Constitution of the United States and justice for all. Promote the cause of peace.
Freedom of our country, to preserve fundamental democracy, perpetuate the friendship and association with each other, and ourselves to cause mutual assistance. This is the basic of it.
Thank you. Please be seated. This time we'll have Past National Commander Reed Riley, also our convention chair, introduce our next guest speaker.
Get this out of your way, boss. There you go. You got it. Introduce Rocky, right? Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. How's Pittsburgh treating you? I didn't hear that. All right, thank you, thank you. Our next speaker is one who's well known in the Pittsburgh area, and as the secretary said, he crashed his dreams of Minnesota Vikings winning. It is my pleasure to welcome a combat veteran, wounded in action, but survived to become a leader among veterans. Please stand and welcome Mr. Rocky Bleier.
Reeds, thank you very much, and good afternoon. I have to tell you in all honesty, it's a pleasure for me to be able to be here for the AMVETS gathering from all over this country. A little tough to follow the secretary, but I'll try my best to be able to do that. And for those who are not necessarily from this area, Western Pennsylvania or Pennsylvania, who's come from other parts of the states, we welcome you here to this fair city and hope you have a great time while you're here. For those who are not Pittsburgh fans, just to put it in perspective now that the football season is just around the corner, do you know how many Steeler fans it takes to change a light bulb? Don't hurt yourself. From those from out of state, just don't hurt yourself. The answer is 5. One, of course, to change the light bulb. The other 4 to talk about how great the 70s were. From 74, 75, 78, 79. One against the Minnesota Vikings. 2 against the Dallas Cowboys. Oh! And the 4th against the then LA Rams. But you have to understand, having 4 Super Bowl rings poses a lot of problems to me. Because no matter where I may go, it raises a myriad of questions like, well, geez, Rock, I mean, you have 4 Super Bowl rings. Do you change them every day? I mean, how do you decide which one to wear? I mean, which one's better than the other one? Which one do you like more than the other one? Well, I have to tell you in all honesty that this one that I wear on my right hand, from Super Bowl 13, the second time that we had played the Dallas Cowboys, is the one that I wear all the time, and for various reasons. One, and happened to be the best game I played in all 4 Super Bowls. Secondly, it was the only game in all 4 Super Bowls that I had scored a touchdown in. But you have to understand, it was just not an ordinary touchdown. It was just not a run-of-the-mill flop your body over the goal line kind of a touchdown, because really that does not take a whole lot of skill. I mean, any dumb slob can do that from 1 yard out. Just give him the ball, let him fall over the goal line. No, this one was one of a great athletic achievement, one of a extraordinary ability. And for those of you who may remember it, oh, now these many years ago, well, I want to thank you very much. Now, for those of you who don't remember, it's somewhat fuzzy, quite not in focus. And although you may remember that the Steelers had partook in a game, and yeah, maybe Bleier did do something, well, I would like to make sure that before you leave this fair city is that touchdown will be forever etched in your memories. So I'd like to take you back briefly in time to that game all those many years ago. Second time that we played the Cowboys, and we knew it was going to be a very toughly fought battle because of the fact you just don't play the Cowboys twice after you beat them the first time and expect them to roll over and play dead the second time. And that game, it seesawed back and forth, especially in the first half, when all of a sudden the score was tied, 14-14. And we got the ball back. But more importantly, we got what? We got momentum on our side. And we started to drive the ball down the field. And as we're driving the ball down the field, all of a sudden we found ourselves down on the 7-yard line. And it was third down with 1 yard to go for a first down. Picture this in your mind. As we broke that huddle, Franco Harris, my running mate, was lined up behind Terry Bradshaw, our quarterback. I am to the right of Franco. The play that had been called was just a quick pass play to the halfback, myself, where I would go at a 45-degree angle down to the line of scrimmage. Cut down the line of scrimmage at another 45-degree angle. Catch the ball over my shoulder. Take a 90-degree turn up the field, pick up 1, 2, 3 yards, depending on how the Cowboys would react, and they always reacted well. Well, when the ball was snapped, none of that happened. I did break out of my stance, but my opponent jumped across that line of scrimmage and took my path away from me, and the best I could do was what? Cut it short, and I took that 90-degree turn right up in front of him. Now, in the meantime, Bradshaw was faking to Franco into the line of scrimmage. And when he pulled that ball out, looking for that receiver, myself, down that line of scrimmage, and when he did not spot me, being the smart, intelligent quarterback we perceived him to be, it finally dawned on him that it might be a broken play. So he tucked the ball underneath his arm and he started to scramble to his right. And as he's scrambling to his right, that sideline was looming up. Opposite side of him, larger than life, Neanderthal beings with lobotomies chasing him down. And then it happened, maybe once in a lifetime. Will you ever experience it? When all time just seems to stand still. And our eyes met. Across the field. Now 40 yards separating us, and he released the ball, maybe a little too quickly, maybe a little too high. And it came floating into that end zone. And as it came floating into that end zone, I leaped all 5'9.5" of me with all my might straight up in the air as high as I could go. Oh, I don't know, 19, 20 feet. I kind of forget after all these years. And I grabbed that ball and came down across that goal line to give us a score and a lead. Ooh, and a lead we never relinquished. But that is not why I wear this ring. No, I wear this ring because it happens to be the largest and gaudiest of all four of them. But you have to understand that every time that I wear these rings, I mean, for me, these rings are truly a symbol, and they're important, as all symbols in our lives are important, because they're really constant reminders of the successes that we've had, failures we've experienced, depths that we've prevailed, heights we've achieved, of the constant barriers that we ought to overcome to be able to get there. And they're really constant reminders that getting to the top and becoming the best and doing the job that is needed just doesn't happen. But it takes all those ingredients that we've come to learn within our lives, within the service. It takes hard work and dedication and commitment and a passion. But it also takes leadership in people and a vision and a belief system shoved into a capsule that no matter what we may do today, we love to call a team. And that's what AMVETS is all about. It's about a team. And more importantly, it's about a team doing a job of really creating hope. Because the one business that we're all in, whether you like it or not, is that we're really all in the hope business. Because ultimately, as we've come to learn, no man is an island. I mean, we did not get to where we are today by ourselves. We got here because of someone, something, an opportunity. We got here because of a parent, a teacher. We got here because of a mentor. We got here because of a coach, a drill sergeant. We got here because of a teacher. We got here because somebody kicked us in the rear end, pulled us along, gave us an opportunity. We got here because somebody cared. And all our lives, if you think about it, all our lives really built on that one little concept of hope, that little belief within ourselves that we can accomplish and do something and make a difference. And it has to start somewhere. And mine, I have to tell you in all honesty, started with the greatest football game I ever played in. I was 9 years old. Now I'm playing Dickie Weisgerber, my next door neighbor. Being born and raised in a small Midwestern town, Appleton, Wisconsin, for us cheeseheads, I mean, football was a big part of our lives. And Dickie and I had an extensive schedule. We had home and away games. And the first game of that season was an away game for me, so of course I had to go across the street, pick up Dickie, and play in his side lawn. But what a game. What a game. I scored 51 touchdowns that afternoon. More importantly, I shut him out. I mean, the sucker did not score. I mean, think about it. It's 347 to nothing. I mean, it was a game of skill and will. And now, just because of the fact Dickie was 5, I mean, shouldn't take anything away from my personal achievement. He was a big 5. He didn't know Dickie. I mean, he was a tough kid. And the interesting thing is that as we grew up playing pickup games in the backyard or organized game in the rec league, as we went into grade school and junior high and high school, one of the things I've come to learn then thereafter, even into the service, was there was always a catalyst that would pull individuals together and mold them into the team. And because of the success of that team, you would get recognized for your contribution. So coming out of high school, we had never lost a football game because of a catalyst as a coach. And because of that, I got a chance to continue my education, and I got a scholarship to go to the University of Notre Dame. And because of a catalyst by the name of Era Parsegian, by my junior year, we won a national championship, and I become captain of the team my senior year. And because of the success of the team, you get recognized for your contribution. And because of that success, I get drafted into the National Football League by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now you have to understand, just to put things in the right perspective, I was not their first pick. I did not make their top 10 list. I was the 417th person picked in the draft that year. I was a 16th round draft choice. But you have to understand, there were 17 rounds. And I thought to myself, hey, at least you're not the last guy picked. You might have a chance to make this team. And people ask me, well, how did you make the team back then? Well, do you remember who played for the Steelers in the 60s? That's how come I made the team, because nobody remembers who played for them during that period of time. And I got a chance to play 10 of 14 games that first year. We only won 2 games all season. And I was sitting in front of my locker at Old Pitt Stadium here. And the locker room there was cramped and pungent and laid out like every locker room before or since, lockers against the wall, players around the perimeter, and in the middle was a laundry basket with a couple tables. And on one of the tables is where all the fan mail would be deposited for the players. Now, it was a place I had never visited from the first day of training camp up through that 10th game of the season, not when you're the 417th person picked in the draft, playing on a losing team, nobody knows you exist. My mother, God rest her soul, never even sent me a letter. When all of a sudden, one of the equipment guys holler, hey, Bleier, there's a letter over here for you. Well, I stood up, maybe a little too quickly, ever do that, got a little lightheaded. Pulled myself together, looked around, see if anybody saw me, sauntered over the table thinking, now who's writing me a letter? Maybe it's a Notre Dame graduate, wants an autograph from a former captain. I got to the table and I perused through the mail, and my God, there it was, my first piece of fan mail. I have to tell you, I picked it up very tenderly, opened it up, slipped out the paper inside. It was from my uncle. My Uncle Sam. Greetings, it said. We'd like to inform you that you've been inducted into the armed services of your country. Now, let me be honest. That was the worst fan letter I've ever received in my life at that time. Like everybody else who got their draft notification back in 1968, there was no lottery back then. I was not necessarily embracing my soon-to-be current change in life. I quickly calculated my options. Why? Because we had options back then. I could leave the country. Some people were doing that, but not me. I could not show up, consequence, go to jail. That's even worse. I could apply as a conscientious objector to that conflict over in the Far East, but coming from Appleton, Wisconsin, really, in all honesty, what was I going to object about? I could join the reserve or the National Guard, but this was 1968. All those places were filled. So I quickly calculated my options. Now, before I had to report, I thought to myself, we had another game. We had a game against Cleveland before I had to report. And I thought to myself, hey, you might have another option. What if you got hurt in that game? You might not have to report. So in that game against Cleveland, let me tell you this. I threw my body into every Browns jersey I could find. Yeah, stupid Browns, they couldn't even hurt me when I wanted them to. But when I knew I was going to go, there was a certain relief. I mean, a part of me wanted to live up to my responsibility. I mean, what would I tell my kids if they ever said, hey, Dad, what did you do during the war? What if I truly disappointed my parents? I remember the first letter I wrote home. Dear Mom and Dad, Vietnam's really not as bad as I thought it would be. We're on the ocean side. Sometimes we're allowed in it. I mean, the temperature is about 80 degrees. The heat's 100. Whew, it really makes it feel cool. And then I thought, how many kids just like me wrote that same kind of letter home the first day they were in country? Yeah, it's a tropical paradise. And I wrote home often. I'm going to tell you just the way it is, I'd write. So if you want something to worry about, I will give you something to worry about. So I wrote to them about the elephant grass that was tall and sharp, and about the leeches that were short and sharp, about the wait-a-minute vines where you'd be on patrol with your unit at 100+ degree temperature so hot it'd make your nose bleed, the temperature that would deconstruct this body from over 200 pounds to 165 pounds, and you come across these vines that had thorns on them like little fish hooks, and all of a sudden you get tangled, and the more you try to get yourself untangled, just the more you got yourself tangled, and the only thing you could holler was, wait a minute, until you got yourself untangled. I wrote to them about the Viet Cong, or farmers by day and killers by night, about my luxurious air mattress and the poncho liner he used as a cover, how the mud turned into rivers when it rained, and the only time you got a chance to bathe was, well, when it did rain. Now, I don't think I wrote to them about the snakes or the occasional Bengal tiger. I really didn't want them to worry. I could handle combat, I thought to myself. You know why? Because I had the nuns growing up. What was combat like? It was like 16 years of Catholic education. It was like that. You see, I thought if I could be flip about it, I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to think about how ridiculously unfunny it really was. And so when the bullet entered my thigh and I was laying on the ground and blood was pouring in my pants, I did think about the nuns. One in particular, my 6th grade teacher, Sister Bleier, and all the stories that she told us about those soldiers in Korea in World War II. And when the blood started to flow, they started making deals. That's how some of them became priests. And I thought to myself, that's where I'm starting my bidding. You get me out of here and I'll become well, I wasn't going to become a priest. Okay, what else you got? Now, in 4 days, I was going to go to leadership school where I had the chance to test out of combat, but this was not August 24th, this was August 20th, and bleeding was the best you could hope for, because guys were dying, not making deals. So with a bullet in my thigh and panic in my chest, I still had my weapon, a grenade launcher. And let me tell you this, I was launching grenades not knowing where they were landing. I put my head down for a moment, maybe reconsidering the priesthood, when all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye, I saw a grenade come flying through the air, and it hit my commanding officer in the middle of the back, bounced off, rolled between my feet, and before I could get out of the way, it blew up through both my legs. And again, we were in another firefight until a sister platoon fought its way down, dragged us out of there, got us to a secured area. But it's during that period of time, and they're dragging us throughout the night on the poncho liner, they got to a point where they said, hey, we just can't drag you any further. Don't worry, we'll send a stretcher back for you. When all of a sudden, out of the darkness, 2 black hands reach down, scoop me up, throws me over his shoulders, and starts carrying me to the helicopter. Now, the helicopter is a long ways away, and this black man would put me down, my blood all over him, pick me up again, and continue on until he got me onto that chopper. And I never saw him again. I didn't know his name, didn't know where he came from, didn't know where he lived. But I can tell you this, I'm here today because of a colorblind soldier back in 1969 who saw not that he was black and I was white. But blood was blood. In some sense, we did become brothers in that brotherhood of war. So the helicopter took me to an aid station, then took me to Da Nang, where I got patched up. Then I flew to Tokyo, where I spent 3 weeks in the hospital before I came back to the States, where I spent 9 months in the hospital and went through 3 more operations. But it was during that period of time when I was right out of the field, in the field hospital, with an IV drip, morphine drip, and all those questions that we have in times of needs of, why me? Now what? Where am I going to go? I had something. He took it away from me. Where's my future in all of this? Goes rushing through your mind. When across from me was a young soldier. He was a triple amputee, lost his left arm and both legs. And every day that the aides would take him to therapy, I'd watch him grab that little trapeze that swung over his bed, and he'd swing his torso into that wheelchair, and they would push him out. Now, he made sure that he stopped at every bed in that ward, and it wasn't a big bed, and he'd stop at the end of my bed. And he'd look up and he'd say, "Hey, how you doing today? You know, you look better today than you did yesterday, because let's be honest, yesterday you looked like shit. Now, we got some good docs here. We're going to take care of you. We'll get back to you. I'll see you back in the real world one of these days." And I thought, wow, if anybody could be embittered with their lot in life, it would be that young soldier. But yet, he had a positive attitude. I thought, if he could have an attitude like that, what about me? I'm going to be able to walk someday. And as I had made mention, I got to Tokyo, and after a couple weeks in Tokyo, I finally got enough courage to ask my physician what he thought about my future and whether or not I could come back and play this silly game of football. Now, his response to that question was something like this. Don't worry about it. You're going to have a normal life. You're going to be able to do the things that normal people do. Just don't expect to get back on that gridiron, because you just won't have the strength nor the flexibility to do the things that are necessary to be a running back in the NFL. For you see, what he had formulated from his point of view, from his stream of information, correct or not in his diagnosis, was a perception about my ability. But as my authority figure, he just sucked that hope right out. 2 days later, unbeknownst to me, I get a postcard to mail. A simple postcard. It's got 2 lines on it. It says this: "Rock, team's not doing well. We need you. Art Rooney, owner of the team." Wow. Well, somebody needed me. No, they didn't need me. Somebody took the time to care. And being the family that they were and are today, I came back, and they bought me a year. They put me on injured reserve. I had another operation. Came back the following year, made the developmental squad, or the taxi squad as we called. So they bought me 2 years of an opportunity, 2 years to heal, 2 years to get bigger, stronger. And you have to be able to do something with those 2 years. And so I came back 1972, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. Leading ground gainer during the exhibition season. Thank you very much. Good enough to make the team, but never carried the ball. Then thereafter just played special teams. Came back the following year, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. Again, leading ground gainer during the exhibition season. Thank you very much. Got to carry the ball once during that season, better than the year before. Then all of a sudden, in my mind, the following year, 1974, was not looking up for me. I mean, to come back and make the team again, I was going to have to fight with every free agent, draft choice, and rookie to do so. And I just didn't think it was fair. Not that life's fair. I thought maybe my life's going in another direction. And I left the Steelers after that season. Kind of find my life's work, whatever that may be. I was living in Chicago when I got a call from a teammate of mine coming into Chicago. Big sports dinner taking place, sponsored by the NFL. Boys and Girls Club was a recipient. He said, "Why don't you join us? I hadn't seen you since the end of the season. It'd be great to get together again." Well, I wasn't going back, so I declined very politely. He pushed, I declined some more, and he pushed some more. Then he asked me the question, why? Well, the only thing I could blurt out was, "Well, I quit. I'm not going back." And he said, "You can't quit." He He said, if you quit, what you have already done is you've already made a decision for that coaching staff. Do you like them well enough to make decisions for them? He said, no, your responsibility, if this is what you want to do, is you come back and you make them make a decision. You back them in the corner. You give them every reason to either keep you or release you, but you do not cut yourself. And maybe it was just the arm twisting I needed from an older brother I didn't have. And I went back. And everything that I had to perceive, did take place. I had to fight with every free agent and draft choice and rookie once again to be able to make the team. Leading ground gainer during the exhibition season. Thank you very much. Now, the reason that I was a leading ground gainer during the exhibition season wasn't because of the fact that I was bigger, better, faster than all the other running backs. It was a simple fact that I played more than anybody else during that period of time. I carried the ball more than anybody else during that period of time. Given those two simple statistics, you better be the leading ground gainer during that period of time, because all they were providing for you was an opportunity to be able to make this team. And they had to keep me. And I was the 5th running back out of 4 at the beginning of the season. Back playing special teams once again. When unbeknownst to us, Franco Harris, our starting fullback, got hurt. The backup became the starter. And I became the backup to the backup. Wow, I'd never been there before. So with renewed vigor, that first game, second game, third game, right before the half, the backup gets hurt. And I'm inserted into the game, along with my running mate, a guy by the name of Preston Pearson. He finished his career with the Dallas Cowboys, and I tell you this only because of the fact that Preston breaks one 43 yards down the sideline, scores, gives us a lead. We go on at halftime. We go over assignments, adjustments. Who's going to start the second half? Maybe those guys that got you the lead in the first half. And Preston and I get to start the second half. And as a team, we won that game. Everybody's still banged up the following week. Preston and I get to start. And as a team, we win that game. And the week thereafter, it's a Monday night game, an extra day of healing. Franco now becomes healthy. Damn. But that's okay. At least I got a chance to show what I could do. And we had our pregame meal. And right after pregame meal, we have a breakout group where all the running backs get together. We go over last-minute assignments, adjustments. Coach gives us the first 3 plays of the game, just in case Bradshaw should forget, so he can remind him of what they are. And he looks around the table and he goes, Franco, you and Rock will start tonight. And momentarily I was quite confused. I didn't know how we both could play the same position at the same time. When it dawned on me I was going to play the fullback position, I was going to play the other running back position. Nobody told me that. I wish they would have. I'd been better prepared. And we get to start the game. And as a team, we win that game. So we get to start the following week. And as a team, we win that game. And we start the remaining part of the season, Bradshaw, Franco, and myself, and we win the division. And we go to the playoffs, and we win the playoffs. And we go to the Super Bowl for the first time, and we win the Super Bowl. And we play 6 more years together, and we win 3 more Super Bowls. And in 1976, Franco and I became the second set of running backs in the history of the NFL, each to gain 1,000 yards rushing in one season. And after 12 years, I retire. Now, I tell you this whole story in context because no matter how hard we try, how determined we may be, let's be honest. There are times in our lives that we beat our head against the wall. There are times in our lives when the grass looks greener on the other side. There are times in our lives when we question what we do or the commitments that we have or why we're doing it. There are times in our lives when we want to quit, move on, leave, do something else. Well, I suppose the whole moral of the story is that if I would have quit all those many years ago, I'd never had that opportunity to play all those years, playing those 4 Super Bowls, or have all those memories. But the reason I got a chance to play, and this becomes important, wasn't because of my size and speed, two things I do not possess, but ultimately one talent. Prior to that breakout group, all those many years before, unbeknownst to me, Chuck Noll had come up to our backfield coach and said, "You have a weakness in your backfield. Who is your best blocker?" And he said, "Bleier." He said, "Then start him." One talent. And the thing that we have to remind ourselves every day is that we can become a catalyst of what we do, understanding the talent that we have, unique to ourselves and maybe no one else, that makes a difference in people's lives. Because as William Jennings Bryan said, destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. It's not a thing to be waited for, but it's a thing to be achieved. And each and every one of our destinies, along with that of AMVETS, really, in all honesty, lies right here in our own hands. We can become what we want to become, a difference in making people's lives that much better and a concern by you. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with a few words that have been with me for many, many years, and they go like this. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you cannot, you don't. If you like to win, think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. Life's battles won't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the one who wins is the one who thinks he can. And you're all winners. You're here. And thank you for your job and all that you do. God bless you.
I want to thank Rocky for showing up, and the out-of-town people for not booing him. Thank you. We do have one more thing to give to Mr. Bleier.
That's right.
I have a bad time up here with people now. I introduce to you the newest life member of AMVETS, Rocky.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Here's the challenge thing.
Oh,
There's a box right here.
that's right. Thank you.
There you go, Rocky.
I have to tell you in all honesty that this really means a lot. I mean, you become a life member of AMVETS, and all that you do and what you represent, I do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, both of them? I got 2 coins in here. I have my coin, which is the AMVET. Okay. And because you're a special person today, I have the coin commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
That's good. Oh, thank you.
Thank you
very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great job, bro.
I hope it was good. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I got 3 presentations.
Okay.
For June represented.
Okay, it's not now.
Do it right now.
No. That's, why would it be now? Who are they representatives?
No, it's just the thank you for working on the June round. I can do it at your dinner.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
it wouldn't be now. We're super tight now.
Good enough.
Okay.
I've got joint open. Do you want to do everyone's speeches now here, or do you want to go right to the Taiwanese?
I want to do the next thing that's on your schedule. I don't have, this is all I have.
Right. Okay.
You want to do the Taiwanese? You want to do joint opening? What do you want to do?
I got it. Let's give it
Okay.
John Riondo.
Okay.
We're now going to receive our welcoming remarks back into our kind of normal, customary schedule for our joint opening. So at this time, please come to the microphone. John Riando, the National President for AMVETS Riders.
I hate being first.
What's that?
Thanks, Joe. I hate being first. Wow. Look at all of you. This is it's kind of my home away from home, I think. It's been nice to have been president for 2 years. Bittersweet. I'll be stepping down this year, but there's fresh guys coming up. We're going to make a big difference. I just appreciate y'all being so nice to me, and I hope I did the same for you. Legendary riders, we are legendary. Thank you.
National Junior AMVETS President Joyce DePriora.
Good afternoon, AMVETS family. It has been truly an honor to have been the Junior AMVETS President this year. We're around. Welcome to Pennsylvania, by the way. I'm from here, so it's great, I promise. If you need the juniors, we're one call away. We have 50-50 going and luncheon tickets. So, thank you.
National Snappiest, Evelyn Davis.
Good afternoon, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service to your country, each other, and thanks for electing me snappiest again. Have a good evening.
Our national saddest, Mike Davis.
It gets weaker and weaker.
Hey, you know, I've only got till the 1st of September, so you can heap it on now. It doesn't matter. Been to a few places over the past year. We've signed up some new SEDSACs. Remember, everybody that's in the crowd here can join SEDSACs, and we need your money for nursing scholarships. Most of you heard this before, but when I had COVID a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, the nurse in the emergency room when I got there was one of our scholarship receivers. So it pays off, and you get to know it. And all the folks who were in our scrimmages over the weekend, you know, they know I don't talk much, so I'm going to get the heck out of here. Thank you.
Our Sons of AMVETS National Commander Mick Sisla.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody, and greetings to AMVETS family. Welcome to the City of Bridges. 446 bridges, which is more than Venice, Italy, and more bridges than any other city in the world. Pittsburgh bridges symbolize the connections that unite and bind, and they inspire unity. So this week, we've come together in unity to reconnect, renew friendships, make some new friendships, and set our course in service to our veterans, our local posts, local communities, and our country. Aristotle said, "What is the essence of life? To serve others and to do good." So I encourage everyone during this convention week to take advantage of the learning process. Share your success stories with others because they may inspire somebody when they get back home. And upon your return, share that knowledge. Multiply yourself through others and your membership. to serve others, and to do good. So have a great convention. May God bless the AMVETS family, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Now the National AMVETS Ladies Auxiliary President Karen Simmons.
Oh, you think I'm short or something? Good afternoon. I hate to disappoint you all, but I do not have any football stories to tell. Sorry. On behalf of the AMVETS Ladies Auxiliary, I want to welcome you all to the National Convention in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is your time to have fun, but most of all, learn about this awesome organization. Don't be afraid to ask questions. This is your chance to get the answers and bring back what you've learned to your home posts or auxiliaries. I hope you have a great time reconnecting with old friends and making new ones from all across the country. Thank you. God bless America. God bless AMVETS.
And now AMVETS National Commander Don McLean.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Be seated, please. I, too, welcome you to our wonderful convention here in Pittsburgh. I heard some people trying to say another name for it, but I don't believe that's true. This is really a good time, good town. We're going to have fun here. And like Karen says, reach out. Say hi to old friends, make new friends, and let's go from there. But one of the things I want to tell you when you get back to your home posts and your auxiliaries, reach out and make your building a family haven. Don't just reach to the veteran, reach to the veteran's family. Yes. And when you do that, you are going to grow. And I'm going to tell you right up front, and all the bar managers are going to be upset, because you're going to have to be open more. Your building has to be ready for those people who want to come down and visit. And it may be the spouses coming in with the children who need a place to sit down for 5 or 10 minutes before they go to their next appointment. But at the same time, have the coffee ready. Have some rolls or muffins out. Have some little toys for the children to play with if they're bringing the children, but welcome them. Because the more you welcome the family, the more you will welcome the veteran. And that's the one who is going to join. And from there, the rest of the family may join. But the biggest thing that I can see, we'll get more juniors. And that's what we need. We need more juniors across our country to bring out what we do and how we do it and get more word out there. So thank you very much. Enjoy your week. It's going to be very busy. Attend every single meeting that's available to you and have fun. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Commander, if you could please come back forward so we can introduce our last guests of honor today.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon. I'd like to ask you all to stand now and welcome the Taiwanese delegation to our convention, our friends. How are you? Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that you please remain standing as we play the national anthem of both countries, in peace. Secretary General of the Taiwanese Veterans Affairs Council, General Chen. Mr. Chen, or General, it is a pleasure to have you with us today, and we wait for your remarks, sir.
Good afternoon, every hero. National Commander Don McLean, esteemed guests and all the heroes here today, I'm Secretary General Jian from the Veterans Affairs Council, Republic of China, Taiwan. It's my first time representing VAC at such a fantastic event, and I'm highly honored to be here. On behalf of VAC, I express our high respect to all the members. Like AMVETS, VAC devote to carry for our military veterans and fostering a sense of all-out defense and patriotism among the public. We benefit from engaging with the various veterans organizations, including AMVETS. That's why I invite the National Commander to visit Taiwan to exchange ideas to support our veterans. Since we became Brotherhood Organization in 1991, we have been sharing our knowledge and experience in Veterans Affairs, and it's been incredibly beneficial for all the involved. We learn from each other, which make a massive difference in serving our veterans. In April this year, we have the tremendous honor for welcoming National Commander Don McLean to Taiwan. And let me tell you, he was impressed with what we are doing here, and I'm sure he agrees with the importance of our partnership. I am grateful for your support to the Republic of China, Taiwan. Throughout the year, demonstrate your strategic vision, your resolution passed at each annual convention, backing our country on diplomatic, political, economic, and defense matters, have left a lasting impact. We will always cherish it. Thank you again for inviting me to speak at this remarkable opening ceremony. I wish you a productive and successful National Convention, and may everyone be in a good spirit and health. Lastly, on behalf of the Minister Fong, I am honored to present National Commander Don McLean with the first-class Medal of Honor from the VAC. It's in recognition of his tireless effort to promote international justice and his dedication to our veterans. Felix, please announce the citation. Thank you.
Certificate of award to accompany the presentation of the Medal of Honor of Veterans Affairs Council to Mr. Donald McLean, National Commander of American Veterans, in recognition of his dedication in upholding the international justice and safeguarding the international status of the Republic of China and improving the welfare of veterans. A Medal of Honor of Veterans Affairs Council, First Class, is hereby awarded on this 23rd day of August 2023. General Ken Fong, Minister, Veterans Affairs Council, Republic of China.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Here is with a signature from Minister.
Oh, that is right.
Very good. Yes, sir. Hold on. That's my medal. And this is the medal commemorating the 100th anniversary of our Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I thank you, General. Thank you very much. Be good, safe travels. And I hope you enjoy your rest of the week here. Fabulous organization, the Veterans Affairs Council of Taiwan. It's amazing what they do over in their country for veterans. And they have different tiers, not like this country here. But they do a wonderful job with what they do. And that's it, I think. Okay. Thank you all for being here today. We're going to be breaking from this now and going into the the memorial session. And so stick around. We'll figure out how that's going to be lined up. Oh, yep. Chaplain Allen. We're going to give a little benediction and go from there.
Memorial service will start promptly at 1500 today. So please join us back here right after this ceremony. National chaplains, please meet me at the dais right after we dismiss. May we pray. God bless us and keep us. Unto his gracious protection we commit ourselves. May God be near us to defend us, within us to refresh us, around us to preserve us, before us to guide us, behind us to justify us, and above us to bless us. Amen. Amen.
Mr. Provost Marshal. Yes, sir. Salute to the colors, please. Oh, there you are.
Family, and slick. 2.
Thank you. We are in recess. Thank you.